I opened my eyes that Tuesday expecting the familiar comfort of morning, fresh coffee drifting through the apartment, maybe the smell of pancakes if the day was feeling generous. Instead, the place was unnervingly quiet. No clatter from the kitchen. No movement at all. Just a lone note stuck to the refrigerator door. Had to help someone. Back soon. That was it. No signature. No reason. No, happy birthday. I stood there in nothing but my underwear, staring at that pale scrap of paper as if more sentences might suddenly appear. They didn't. It stayed exactly the same, cold and impersonal. We had shared that apartment for 3 years. 3 full years of dividing bills, bickering over chores, arguing about who forgot to restock toilet paper, and dozing off together halfway through movies. And on my birthday, what I got looked like a message you'd leave for a casual roommate. I crushed the note in my fist and dropped it into the trash. The hours crawled by. I went through the motions at work, meetings, emails, nodding at conversations I barely processed. Alfred from accounting stopped by my desk and asked if I was doing anything special to celebrate. I told him my girlfriend had something planned for later. The lie left a sour taste in my mouth. By early evening, my patience was gone. Around 6, I sent her a message asking when she'd be home. No reply. 7 o'clock came and went. Still nothing. By 8:30, my phone finally vibrated. Can't talk much. Helping someone who's having a rough time. I called her immediately. She didn't pick up until the 4th ring. I could hear noise behind her, music, people talking, laughter bleeding into the call. I can't really talk right now, she said, her tone tight. Where are you? I asked. There was a hesitation, just long enough to matter. I'm at Jackson's. Jackson. Her former boyfriend. The one she'd dated for 2 years before me. The one she'd sworn was firmly in the past. You're at your ex's place, I said slowly, making sure there was no misunderstanding. He's not doing well, she replied. He needed someone to listen. And that someone is you. Don't do this, she snapped. This isn't about you. I let out a laugh, but there was nothing amused in it. It's my birthday. I know, she said, but the world doesn't stop for that. He's really struggling, and I couldn't just leave him hanging. If you trusted me, you'd get it. Her words lingered like smoke in the room. Trust wasn't the issue. The issue was that she chose to spend my birthday with another man while I sat alone in the place we shared. Are you coming back tonight? I asked. Another pause. Longer this time. I don't think so. He's in a bad place, and I don't feel right leaving him by himself. I said nothing. There was nothing left to say. I ended the call and sat there in the darkness. The apartment felt cavernous, hollow. Her sentence replayed in my head, if you trusted me. Trust wasn't what broke. Her choice did. I went into the bedroom, pulled open the top drawer of my dresser, and took out a small velvet box. I'd bought it 2 months earlier. Spent weeks choosing the ring. I had everything planned, dinner at her favorite Italian restaurant, then a walk by the lake where we'd gone on our first date. That night was supposed to change everything. I turned the box in my hand, feeling its weight. She was at her ex's house on my birthday. I put it back where it belonged and closed the drawer. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring blankly at the wall until my eyes burned. The clock read 10:47. She wasn't coming home. I considered calling again. Thought about driving over there. Thought about dragging her out of that place. 100 different impulses ran through my mind. In the end, I did none of them. I grabbed a beer from the fridge and sat alone in the living room, letting the streetlight outside paint long shadows across the ceiling. Around midnight, clarity finally settled in. I didn't need to shout. I didn't need a dramatic argument. I just needed to go. Whenever she eventually walked through that door, she would learn exactly what her version of a trust had cost her. The ring would remain hidden, for now, but not for the reason she'd ever imagine. I finished the beer and went to bed. Tomorrow would not be the same. She returned the following night around 11. I heard the lock turn, then her footsteps moving down the hallway. She stopped short when she saw me in the bedroom, pulling clothes from the dresser and neatly packing them into my suitcase. "What are you doing?" she asked, her voice balanced somewhere between concern and irritation. I didn't respond. I kept folding, shirts, jeans, socks, placing each item carefully inside. She trailed after me into the closet as I grabbed my jackets. "Can we talk about this like grown-ups?" she said. "You're acting immature." That word hit harder than she expected. I finally looked at her, meeting her eyes for the first time since she came in. "Where were you last night?" I asked, my voice calm and empty. "Jackson was dealing with a lot," she said. "Where did you stay?" I asked. "On his couch," she replied quickly. "Obviously." "Obviously," I echoed, letting the word sit between us. "Nothing happened," she insisted, her voice climbing. "This is crazy. You're ready to throw away 3 years because I spent one night supporting someone who needed help. Listen to yourself. You can't just." I zipped up the first suitcase and reached for another. "I can't believe you're blowing everything up over nothing," she went on. I opened the top drawer of the dresser, pushed aside a stack of worn shirts, and uncovered the small velvet case. She noticed immediately, watched as I picked it up and slid it into the pocket of my jacket. The color drained from her face. "Wait," she said, her voice cracking. "Is that?" "I bought it 2 months ago," I replied. "I was going to ask you to marry me last night. I planned the whole evening." Her eyes filled. "Oh my God. I didn't know." "How could you?" I said quietly. "You were busy taking care of Jackson." "That's not fair," she protested. I almost laughed. "Fair? You want to talk about what's fair?" "If you'd been honest, I would have been hurt, sure, but I would have understood. Instead, you made me feel like I was wrong for questioning you, like I didn't trust you enough." "I don't have feelings for him," she said, her voice breaking. "I swear I don't." "Then why?" I asked. She had no answer. I headed for the door and stopped for a moment, but I didn't turn around. "If you had told me the truth, if you'd said you were confused, or that part of you still cared for him, I could have handled that. But you stood there and blamed me, like this was somehow my fault. You chose him." She grabbed my arm. "Please, wait. Just give me a minute. We can talk this through." "Let go," I said softly. "No. Not until you hear me. You're making this into something it isn't." I looked at her, not angry, not heartbroken. Just steady. "You chose him. On my birthday. While I was here alone. You chose him." Then I walked out. My hands didn't tremble as I loaded the suitcases into my car. No tears came. Just a strange, quiet certainty that I was doing the right thing. I drove across town to my friend Clement's place. He opened the door in sweatpants, confusion written all over his face. "Can I stay here a few days?" I asked. "Yeah, man. Of course. Come in." I dropped my bags in the spare room and sat on the edge of the bed. The ring case was still in my pocket. I took it out and opened it, watching the diamond catch the light from the hallway. Clement handed me a beer and left me alone with my thoughts and the ceiling above me. My phone vibrated. Then again. I turned it off and closed my eyes. Tomorrow, I'd figure out what came next. For now, I just needed quiet. By morning, my phone looked like a disaster, 12 missed calls, 23 messages. Most were from her. "Please talk to me. This is ridiculous. You're being dramatic. I deserve a chance to explain." Then the tone shifted. "You're destroying everything we built. I can't believe how selfish you're being." I blocked her number and went to work. At lunch, an unfamiliar number called. Hello? Hey, it's Brooke, one of her friends said, sounding unsure. I just spoke to her. She's a mess. I really think you two should sit down and talk. Did she tell you where she was on my birthday? I asked. There was a pause. She said she was helping a friend. Her ex. Another silence. She spent the night at his place? Did she mention anything else? She said it wasn't what it looked like. Thanks for calling, Brooke, I said, and ended the call. That afternoon, she showed up at my office. The receptionist buzzed my desk. There's a woman here asking for you. Says it's urgent. Through the glass, I saw her standing in the lobby, shaking her head before turning and leaving. Later, a mutual friend, Colton, texted me. Man, what's happening? She's telling people you walked out over a misunderstanding. I replied, she spent my birthday night at her ex's house. I had an engagement ring in my drawer. 3 dots appeared. Then vanished. Damn. I didn't know. I'm sorry. That evening, Clement came home with takeout. We ate on his couch while a basketball game played in the background. She's been calling everyone, he said between bites. Most people think you did the right thing. A couple say you went too far. I said nothing. I already knew where I stood, let me guess, I said. The people claiming I went too far are all unattached. Clement laughed. Yeah, pretty much. Figures. My phone buzzed again. Hazel, one of the few people I actually trusted, asked if we could meet for coffee. When she arrived, she looked uneasy, nervously swirling her drink before finally speaking. There's something I need to tell you, she said. I should have said it months ago. I stayed quiet. She's been in regular contact with Jackson for about 6 months, Hazel continued. Texts. Calls. Lunch meetups. She told me it was harmless, that they'd resolved everything. Hazel studied my face. You believed that? I wanted to, I admitted. But 2 months ago, I saw a message on her phone. Can't wait to see you again, with a heart. A familiar chill spread through my chest. I asked her about it, I went on. She said I was imagining things. Hazel sighed, regret heavy in her voice. I didn't want to interfere if it really was innocent. But once I heard people blaming you, I couldn't stay quiet anymore. I finished my coffee and nodded. I appreciated her honesty. Are you going to confront her? I asked. There's no point, Hazel replied. She'll deny it. And you're already gone. If anything, this just confirms you made the right decision. Back at work, the hours blurred together. For once, being busy felt like relief. It was the first time in days my thoughts weren't consumed by what had fallen apart. That evening, Clement mentioned that his girlfriend Ava's sister knew about a small house available to rent. The owner wanted someone calm, reliable. Month-to-month lease. No pets. I agreed immediately. By the end of the week, I went to see it. The place was modest, 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, and a kitchen that had clearly seen better years. But it was clean and quiet. The landlord, Mr. Murphy, cared about one thing, rent paid on time and no damage to the property. We shook hands, and as I walked away, something inside me eased. A sense of direction. A next step. I was heading back to my car when I noticed her sitting across the street in her sedan, watching me. How she knew I was there, I couldn't say. Maybe she followed me. Maybe someone tipped her off. I unlocked my door just as she rushed across the road. We need to talk, she said. Her eyes were red, mascara streaked. She looked worn down. Make it quick, I replied. She stumbled through her explanation. Jackson had been messaging her, saying he regretted ending things. He claimed he'd changed. He told her he was depressed, hinted that he might hurt himself. She panicked and went to him. She slept on his couch. Nothing happened, she said. I swear. Then she blurted, "Do you still have the ring?" "What ring?" "The one you took from the drawer." "I was planning to propose that night," I said. "Dinner reservations, everything." Her face collapsed. "I didn't know. I messed up. I'll block him. I'll cut him off. I'll do whatever you want." "That's not the issue," I said calmly. "The issue is that when it mattered, you made a choice. And you didn't choose me. Then you tried to make me feel guilty for questioning you." She cried. Begged. "I love you. I loved the person I thought you were," I replied. "But either she never existed, or she disappeared somewhere along the way. I don't love you now. I don't hate you either. I just don't feel anything." She stared at me, waiting for hesitation. There was none. I turned toward my car. She grabbed the door. "The ring, you said you returned it." "I did." "Do you regret buying it?" "No," I said. "I regret ignoring the warning signs." "What signs?" "The late-night messages you hid. How defensive you got whenever I asked about Jackson. How you pulled away whenever we talked about the future. You put his emotions first for 6 months. You let him believe there was still hope. And when he called, you dropped everything and ran to him. That wasn't confusion. That was a decision." She swallowed. "I should leave."
Yeah,
I said. "You should." I backed out and watched her fade into the rearview mirror until she was gone. My hands didn't shake. My chest felt light. For the first time since that stupid note on the refrigerator, I knew, without doubt, that I had done the right thing. 3 weeks passed quickly. I signed the lease, moved in with Clement's help, bought a used couch online, and picked up dishes from Target. It wasn't much. But it was mine. It wasn't much to look at, but it belonged to me. No shared rooms. No negotiations. No leftover tension lingering in the walls. There were no echoes of old fights hiding in corners. Just quiet. Work kept me occupied. A demanding project stretched late into the evenings, and I welcomed it. Staying focused gave my mind something solid to hold on to. Most weekends, Clement and Ava stopped by. We grilled, watched games, talked about absolutely nothing of consequence. It was simple. Comfortable in a way my previous life never managed to be. About a month later, I crossed paths with Hazel at a cafe. She told me she'd seen her with Jackson, fingers intertwined. They'd already split up again 2 weeks earlier. Hazel thought I should be prepared, there was a chance she might try to contact me. I told her I wouldn't respond. I was done. And for the first time in a long while, I truly meant it. One Saturday, there was a knock at my door. I wasn't expecting anyone. When I opened it, she stood there. Shorter hair. A different coat. The same familiar eyes. "How did you find me?" I asked. "Brooke knows someone who knows your landlord," she said. "I needed to see you one last time." "For what?" "To say I'm sorry. And to admit you were right. I didn't invite her inside." "About what?" I asked. "About all of it," she said. "The decisions that hurt you. The secrets. Blaming you instead of owning my choices." "Okay," I said. "What do you want from me?" "I don't know," she admitted. "Something. Anything. You're acting like I don't matter." "You kind of don't anymore," I said evenly. She told me she was officially back together with Jackson, but that it had already fallen apart again. She said she owed me honesty. I nodded. "I don't hate you," I said. "I just don't care anymore." She wiped at her eyes. "For what it's worth, you deserved far better than what I gave you." "I know," I replied. She left. I shut the door behind her. The house was still. I grabbed a beer, sank onto the couch, and felt something I hadn't experienced in months, calm. 2 months later, I was in a hardware store comparing paint samples when I heard Hazel behind me. We talked casually, like neighbors. She mentioned Jackson again and said they'd ended things. Good for them, I said. You're not bothered at all, she asked. Why would I be? I replied. She made her decision. He made his. Hazel smiled. You're handling this better than most people would. Trust me, I said, there were rough moments. We said
Goodbye.
And on the drive home, I felt lighter, clearer. One evening, while I was grilling, she appeared again around the side of the house. I know you didn't respond, she said. That was on purpose. The last time you asked for 5 minutes, I said, you got them. She asked if I missed her even a little. I told her I didn't, that I had loved the idea of who she was, but that person either never existed or had faded away long ago. Do you hate me? She asked. No, I said. I forgave you. Forgetting took more effort. She left without another word. A few weeks later, Clement hosted a small gathering. That's where I met Ruby. She was sharp, warm, easy to talk to. We swapped numbers. No expectations, she said. Maybe coffee sometime? I agreed. That night, back home, I thought about the ring. The proposal that never happened. The future that vanished in a single evening. And all I felt was relief. 2 months can change a lot, or maybe they just uncover what was always there, buried beneath routines, excuses, and the comforting lie that everything was fine. I settled into the house. Fixed a dripping faucet. Painted the living room a color that wasn't beige. Started cooking again. Work wrapped up one project and hinted at the next. Clement and Ava became something like family. Life kept moving forward. I don't need closure. I don't need the final word. I just need to keep going. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. Our story ends here. If you've stayed with me this far, consider subscribing, it helps more than you know. I've picked 2 more stories you might enjoy. Click one, and I'll see you next time. See you soon.